What's up, guys? Today I'm going to talk about the Bible code. Did you heard about that God knows the hair on our head? God knows the number of our hair on our head. But probably you are skeptical. Thought that's impossible. That's impossible. Who knows, what if it's true? Okay, let me come back to talk about the Bible code. It's a long tradition in Jewish culture to try to, do the interpretation, annotation to find the meaning in the Bible. So as early as in the 13th century, a Spanish rabbi found a special thing, like a code to interpret the Bible. It's also called the Torah code. It's Torah. And the way how to do it is like we omit all the comma, non-letter things out of the book, and then we put all the row letter together, and then we take every fifth letter to put them together to see the meaning. So in the Genesis, Hebrew, they all found the same letter, Torah, T-O-R-A-H. So that's why Torah code was found. It also called Bible code. Many centuries passed by. In 20th centuries, there are another rabbi also found this. He studied that. After he died in 1957, his student published his work. And then recent years, the technology repeatedly developed. And then now we have computers, so the computer can process a lot of data. Now people did a lot of research, on that. It appears the Bible, the Bible code reveal the details of events that have taken place 1,000 years after the Bible was written. And secular proof that there are indeed a higher intelligence, which is who is a God, in the universe. You probably don't believe it. I'm not here trying to convince you. What if is true? There are so many supernatural things in this universe, right? Along with the technologies development, we will see more, mysterious things like supernatural things. Another kind of explanation says, the lines from outer space wrote all those code to us 1,000 years ago. So until we developed our culture to a certain level, we are not able to see those codes. And now, clearly, we can use computer high technology to find more and more hidden secrets in this universe. And so below we have a video. We can watch the video to see how, people talk about this, the Bible code, also called the Torah code. Equidistant letter sequence. Okay, let me repeat. It's called equidistant letter sequence. ELS, not not ESL, it's ELS. It's equidistant letter sequence. If you are interested, probably you can do some research studies to find maybe more evidence, more code in the Bible, maybe other book. I mean, yeah, they tried other books. They also found similar thing, but the thing is, they developed the technique, like put them all the Torah code in matrix, and then they found the related events, name, person, they very closely, they are in the same matrix. You can try other long novels, but they said they didn't find so many, close information together like the Bible did, like the Bible does. So, listen up. So watch the video to see how this is, and then like you sometimes you try a new restaurant, try a new city, travel to a new city, or try different things. That's how you learn to know the world, right? So why don't you just watch a new video to see a different and to see a different opinion, different concept about our world. This is the world we are living in. We need to know more about it, right? That's related to us because we are in this universe. Okay, that's enough for me today. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video.
Imagine if I told you there's a book that predicted the World Trade Center attack thousands of years before it happened. Well, there is. It's called the Bible. Don't take my word for it. It's all here in black and white, in these books, the Bible Code and the Bible Code 2, in which author Micheal Drosnin shows that by feeding the Hebrew text of the Old Testament into a sophisticated computer program, earth-shattering historical events can be predicted. Drosnin says messages are revealed by applying a simple skip code. Skip 2 letters and 2 letters and 2 letters, and the hidden message is revealed. It can be any skip, as long as the skips are always equal. You can go horizontal, vertical, diagonal, forwards, or backwards. For example, this portion of the Bible predicts the killing of Lee Harvey Oswald, President JFK's assassin, by Jack Ruby. Here's the word Oswald, diagonally backwards. Pointing to Oswald is the word Ruby, and looking across at them is the Hebrew for he will kill the assassin. And you can't open the Old Testament without coming face to face with an alarmingly accurate warning about September 11, 2001. Here's twin, towers, in the end of days, and here's twin, towers, it knocked down twice, aeroplane, and finally, sin, crime of Bin Laden. Despite this compelling evidence, there are some bitter individuals jealous of other people's scientific and theological breakthroughs who choose not to believe it. Australian mathematician Brendan McKay is at the forefront of the anti-Bible Code movement. He's reproduced Micheal Drosnin's computer program, and Brendan reckons you can pretty much feed anything into the program and get pretty much whatever you want. For example, he fed the book Moby Dick into the program and found predictions of the assassination of JFK and Martin Luther King. So Brendan issued us with a challenge. Give him anything and he'll find anything. The challenge set, we asked him to feed into his computer program the entire back catalogue of lyrics from 90s rapper Vanilla Ice and asked, did Vanilla Ice predict the September 11 World Trade Center attacks? Yo, VIP. Let's kick it.
Let's kick it. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal, light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle.
What have you got here?
Well, here I found the New York and terrorist, Twin Towers. I found 9/11, so it even has the date. I found You Came in the Sky, and we have Osama bin Laden right there, encoded in the lyrics using the same method.
That is amazing. A lot of people thought Vanilla Ice was quite shallow. Not satisfied with this, we gave Brendan the US government's joint congressional report into the September 11 attacks and asked, did the US government's report into the September 11 attacks predict Vanilla Ice's career downfall after his one-hit Ice Ice Baby?
Apparently this Senate report actually post-predicts the decline of Vanilla Ice, and it's here quite clearly in the form of a star. We have vanilla and ice You notice how it says Ice Ice, just like in his song Ice Ice Baby. His real name was Robert Van Winkle, so we see Robert across the same point. And his decline is here, it says wasted, which we can't disagree with, and the word kaput right across the middle.
That is startling evidence.
I think so, yes.
Did you know? Not paying out on Micheal Drosnin or nothing, but how come Bible Code 2, which came out after September 11, predicted the tragedy, but Bible Code 1, which came out before, did not?
Now allowed us to rediscover the very things that the rabbis knew thousands of years ago. And so it's a very fascinating study. But let me just give you one example to give you a flavor of this. This is Genesis chapter 1 in Hebrew. Now, I want to remind you that Hebrew goes from right to left. Also, the word Torah in Hebrew is spelled with 4 letters. A ta, which is roughly equivalent to our T, an O, a resh, a he, 4 letters. If you go to the first how in the book of Genesis, and that's the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, it happens, and you count 49 letters, you come to a vav. You count 49 more letters, and you come to a resh, which is sort of like our R. And you count 49 more letters, you come to a he. So that is those 4 letters spelled Torah. Now I need to remind you that all languages flow towards Jerusalem. Did you know that? All nations east of Jerusalem go from right to left. All nations west of Jerusalem go from left to right. All languages flow towards Jerusalem. I don't know what you're going to do with that piece of information, but I think it's interesting. Now, you can follow this without knowing Hebrew, probably, but you say, now why 49? Was a square of 7? Okay, that's fine. That's not too surprising, but just a coincidence, of course. Or is it? Now, you could argue, well, that's just an accident of the frequency of letters and so forth. It's kind of rare, but interesting. Except what happens is when you go to the book of Exodus, you go to the first how, count 49 letters, you get a vav. 49 letters, you get a resh. 49 letters, and you get a he. Same thing happens. What's the probability of that? Whatever the first probability is, it's that squared. Okay? So it's very unlikely. Genesis, Exodus, you go to Leviticus and it doesn't happen, and when it doesn't, you almost feel a sigh of relief. Huh? But when you go to Numbers, the same thing happens backwards. You take the first he, the first resh, the first vav, the first tau, you get Torah spelled backwards. Now that's weird. If nothing else, I don't know how they found this out. They must have had time on their hands. You know, they didn't have computers. You know, this was. You go to Deuteronomy, you have essentially the same equivalent thing happens, and now you're puzzled because you've got it forward, forward, backward, backward. You can't resist going back to Leviticus and looking at Leviticus more closely. We have 49, that's 7 squared letter sequences. Torah, Torah, forward in Genesis, Exodus, backwards in Numbers and Deuteronomy. Well, if you look at Leviticus, you discover that every 7th letter spells the unpronounceable name of God. Often rendered Jehovah or Yahweh, expressed as Adonai among the Hebrews. They won't pronounce that name, they'll use the word Lord instead. Well, now we stand back from all of this. We have the name of God, and we suddenly realize that the Torah always points to the name of Jehovah. Now, what's the chance of that happening by accident? And by the way, if you've tried to contrive something like this and still maintain logic in the text, that's a challenge. This is a very non-trivial thing to design if you set out to design it that way. So many of us tend to regard these kinds of things in general as fingerprints of the Holy Spirit.